Mercy has received an absolutely devastating nerf in Overwatch 2 Season 3, and it's causing a ton of drama. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So I think Blizzard have kind of missed the mark here with this update to Mercy. You can sort of see what they're trying to do, but I think the execution is just not what we need at this moment in time, especially for Mercy. So let's begin by taking a look at the actual nerf. Guardian Angel cooldown increased from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. That's an extra second of cooldown on Guardian Angel, which is Mercy's essential movement ability. Also, holding the backwards directional input and cancelling the ability with jump now moves 20% slower. The Caduceus staff healing per second has been reduced from 55 to 45 health. However, healing is increased by 50% for allies under half health. So that is really good. That means Mercy can be a triage emergency healer because she's got increased healing by 50% if the target is under 50%. But remember, they've just nerfed Guardian Angel, so it's more difficult to actually get in, provide the triage, and get out. You see where this is starting to not make a lot of sense? Anyway, it goes on. Regeneration passive. This has been completely removed. So this was Mercy's additional regeneration passive, which was coupled with the class regeneration passive or the role regeneration passive. So Mercy actually regenerated quite a lot of health when she wasn't in combat. She's got a new passive though. It's called Sympathetic Recovery. Now, Mercy heals herself for 25% of healing done with the Caduceus staff. So you heal a target, 25% of that healing is given back to Mercy. If the target is under 50% health and you heal that target, you get 25% of that increased healing that's going into the target. So Mercy's more survivable, right? Well, that's kind of not the case. If you go and look on the official Overwatch forums, or you go to Twitter and search for Mercy, or you just go to Reddit and search for Mercy, you'll just see stuff like this. So people are really not happy with this. Like, to see the number of posts, the number of tweets, the number of comments about this, something is not right here, right? And I think Blizzard need to do something about this. But the question is, how is this actually impacting Mercy? Well, I want to break this down now and go into detail on the way this is affecting the hero and why people are getting so angry about this. The triage healer problem. For a long time, Mercy has not had any way of providing burst healing to a target. So in this idea of you're looking around for targets to fly towards and rapidly heal because they're taking a ton of damage, Mercy hasn't been able to do that until now. She can if the target's below 50% health. So Mercy gets rewarded for healing the targets that are taking the most damage. So if your Soldier 76 has now only got 40% of his health left and you go towards him, you'll rapidly heal him up to that 50% mark and then start healing him at your normal rate again. So you've got that emergency burst. In fact, imagine if he was at 10% and you went towards him, you've got that emergency burst. So that means, what does Mercy need? Well, Mercy sort of needs movement, doesn't she, to get into those bad situations and then get out of those bad situations. Now, when we look at the Guardian Angel nerf, it's an extra second now before you can activate it again. And also, you're 20% slower when you use the reverse Guardian Angel. But that's not the big issue here. The issue is the cooldown. So if you go into a fight to save somebody who is taking a lot of pressure, a lot of damage with your triage burst healing under 50%, you can do that. But you need to stay there for an extra second. Now, you might be thinking, well, Sty, an extra second doesn't really mean a lot, does it, in the grand scheme of things? It actually does. And even I, as somebody who is not a Mercy main by any stretch of the imagination, I found this frustrating. And you'll see it throughout this gameplay in the background of this video where I'm trying to get out and I just can't because I'm like, oh, it's on cooldown. And then it comes up, cooldown's gone, or now it's available, the ability, but I'm dead, or I've taken too much damage, or maybe the target I wanted to Guardian Angel to is now no longer there. There's all of these frustrating issues with that. So this idea of Mercy being a triage healer, I don't think has actually been implemented very well, because I think the argument here is you needed the existing Guardian Angel cooldown, not this nerfed version, to make this triage healer sort of approach for the hero more appropriate. So like it's like mixed design philosophy, which I just don't think is working. I guess in a roundabout way, what I'm trying to say is I think Mercy, she's really struggling to sort of find that assist she needs to make without putting herself in a very dangerous position where she's just going to get killed. I think that's the problem. Mercy has lower regen. Now let me explain this, because on paper she's got higher regen, because if you're healing targets, you're now getting health back when you heal them, right? Which is massive. The problem is this, well, it only works on targets that have got health missing, right? So she's still got the health regen from the roll passive, but she doesn't have the additional regen that she had before. Because you remember back in the days of Overwatch, Mercy actually healed herself anyway. She was the only support that did that passive. Well, I guess Lucio did, but she basically had a passive where she healed herself, and she kept that in Overwatch 2. But it just sort of was doubled in effect. I mean, I don't think it was double. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it was increased because it was then coupled with the roll passive. So she sort of had double recovery in a way, or at least that's an easy way of explaining it. That's been removed now, so she's just got the normal support regen. So out of combat, yeah, she'll still heal up just as any other support would, but it used to be faster. Now, the issue with this is if you're healing a target that has got full health, then obviously it's pointless healing them, but you won't get any health back from that. If you're healing a target that's taking a ton of damage, then it relies on that, yeah? It relies on your team taking a ton of damage for you to actually heal yourself and be survivable in the fight, keeping them alive. There's also no constant regeneration when you're using Valkyrie. Some people might say this is actually quite a good change, because the fact that she was basically unkillable in Valk was kind of annoying. Now there sort of isn't that. However, if she is healing targets, remember your heals become attached to multiple targets, or your beams do when you're using Valkyrie, she's getting a ton of healing back, but that relies on your team being bunched together. If they're not, then you don't get that increased healing. So actually, this is a pretty major nerf to Valkyrie, and Mercy is a lot more vulnerable when she uses it now as compared to how she was before this nerf came in. The movement nerfs. Now, I just want to quickly touch onto Valkyrie again, because Valkyrie gives you a lot of movement, because obviously you can just fly wherever you like. Now, because you do get the additional healing from the new passive Mercy has got, so obviously with Valk, you're healing multiple targets, hopefully, if they're bunched together. You can survive things like attack visor or bob and things like that, but it relies on your team being very close together. If they're not, you will still die to those abilities, and you can't actually quickly escape them because you're still suffering from the Guardian Angel, movement speed increase that you would be looking for, because the cooldown has actually been increased on that ability, so you don't have it as often. So you just kind of fly around and just get killed. So this is the idea of going back to Guardian Angel again. They want Mercy to be a hero that dives into fights and provides triage healing to the correct target and then dives out of the fight. And that's what Mercy's about, right? That's Mercy's, let's say, fantasy of the hero. You're highly mobile. You're the angel that flies in to save people at the moment of death and then get out of there. Only they've nerfed the way you get in and get out, but give you the burst sort of triage healing that you always wanted. So it's like you've done a deal with the devil. You go in there, you try and save someone, and then you're floundering around like, oh no, I'm stuck in the mud, I can't actually get out of here, and then I'm dead. And it also just feels very clunky. I am massively against changing cooldowns like this on abilities that are abilities players are used to using. Like, you're used to the beat of Guardian Angel, pop, 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 but now it's like pop, 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 but you're still in that frame mindset of pop, 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 pop. You get what I'm saying, guys? And it's crap. It makes the hero feel terrible. So I completely sympathize with Mercy mains and people with tons of hours on the hero. It feels completely different to play. It even feels completely different to me. And like I said, I'm not a Mercy player. It baffles me why they would make that change. Reduce survivability. Now, this, again, is all of these issues get compounded when you look at them. So the change to Guardian Angel, the removing of Mercy's innate health regeneration in favor of her actually needing to heal targets who have got health missing to heal herself. The fact that she's got 20% reduced speed on the reverse Guardian Angel. This makes her easier to kill, and she doesn't really have any defensive abilities beyond, I hope I don't get hit, which I think is a problem to a character that needs to be flying in and out to actually get work done. It's really weird to me that they've done this. Because, I like I said, I really am sympathizing with Mercy players, because you want to go in there. Like, the fantasy of this hero is you want to get in there and you want to provide that healing, that triage, that burst, save somebody from the moment of death, maybe even get a clutch res off, turn around and fly out or whatever. You can't do that really anymore, because this extra second on Guardian Angel is really destroying your ability to get in and out. It hammers your mobility, and it's also hammering your survivability. So Mercy, actually, in a weird way, has just become a lot easier to kill. Now, maybe that was the intention of the developers, because yeah, okay, Mercy was pretty hard to kill. She's flying in and out with Guardian Angel. She's really fast. It's really easy to do the super jump now with Mercy. She's all over the place. She's hard to kill, but that's kind of the point of the hero, right? I think what we're suffering from here is this thing of Blizzard giving and taking. It's the idea of balance through, okay, we can give you something, but now we need to find something we can just take away. So we're going to give Mercy burst healing or increased healing by 50% when targets are under 50%. That's going to be awesome. But actually, we're then going to take away the thing that gets her into the situations to make that change effective. And it doesn't add up. It's really weird. Mercy Pocket Guardian Angel problems are a real thing now. It is actually quite difficult to stay with a Pharah or with an Echo in the sky permanently, because you will lose line of sight to the target as they're flying around. You won't be able to Guardian Angel back to them. This is all because of the extra 1 second. It feels massively clunky, and I think that is the takeaway here in this video. I'd like you guys to, well, take away. She feels very clunky. She's gone from a hero that felt very fluid and very, actually quite nice to play, to a hero that is like, you're getting more frustrated. It's like, oh, come on, Guardian Angel. It used to be ready now, and now it's not. Uh-oh, now it's available. Now I can get back to that target. But the target's moved out of range. And it's not just flying targets, right? It can be Ashes, it can be Soldier 76, anyone that you're trying to pocket, a Junkrat, whatever. When they're moving around, it is now more difficult to stay with them. So it's harder to actually do what you're sort of supposed to do as Mercy. So I did touch on this a little bit earlier on in the video, but I think the changes to a kit actually rely on the old Guardian Angel cooldown. And because they've removed that cooldown and increased it by 1 second, these changes that they've made have made the hero actually worse in a lot of ways. Now, there is an argument to be said that if they kept the Guardian Angel cooldown at the 1.5 seconds with this new burst healing, then Mercy would become maybe too strong. It's hard to tell without testing it. Obviously, there's a bunch of other changes to loads of other heroes in this patch. So again, it is difficult to just honing on Mercy and say, okay, Mercy, she's really weak now. They've made these changes to offset the fact that she's got burst healing when targets are under 50% health, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it's a difficult one. But again, I keep coming back to this idea of they want you to dive in and heal on a hero that they have absolutely nerfed the ability to dive in on. Yeah, you can move in still at the same speed, but then you're in there, you're stuck. It relies on your team, you know, actually protecting you or whatever, or you maybe being clever with line of sight to get back out again. It's not that fantasy of flying in, trying to save that hero. Maybe you do, and then looking around for the next target and flying away. You know, I've always viewed Mercy as the hero where it really rewards your spatial awareness, your strategic overview of the fight. And now it's harder for Mercy to be in a position where she's got that overview. So I think to recap what we're looking at here with these changes, I think it's just really confused Mercy design. I think what they have done is they have removed her passive where she heals herself, and they want to give her one with more hero identity. And that's why they've given her the 50% increased healing to targets under 50% health. That is good, right? I like that. But then it's almost like they've decided they have to make nerfs to the other bits of power within her kit to offset the fact she's now got this bit of increased burst healing. But the issue becomes the increased healing relies on the movement of the character. So if you nerf the movement of the character, then it's no longer... It doesn't make sense what you're trying to go for. You see, they're conflicting points of view. They're conflicting design ideals. Doesn't make any sense. Mercy, in my honest opinion, needs her movement how it was. I know she's difficult to kill. I know, you know, a lot of people are annoyed with... In fact, we've not even spoken about the things they haven't touched. I guess we can touch on that. We are in the confused Mercy design section of the video. People's issues with Mercy are damage boost and res. They are not Guardian Angel and her healing output. But I totally get giving her burst healing in certain scenarios, like I said, when targets are low health. I think that's great. I think that really is great. But then nerfing Guardian Angel, which is the thing that you could honestly argue is her main identity. You can maybe say Rez's, but I'd say Guardian Angel is, because Mercy flying around the battlefield is iconic with Overwatch. They've nerfed that, and it doesn't really compute. What about if we were in a world where they gave her the burst healing, but then maybe they made some change to the length of the beam? Like, I don't know whether this might be super bad as well. I'm not a game designer. My ideas are going to be terrible. But, like, you know, maybe if the beam was not as long, but you still had the same Guardian Angel, cooldown might be better, might be more enjoyable to play. It's a difficult one with Mercy. I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below, what you would do with the hero, but I honestly do believe they have given her the right thing with a new passive, but nerfing Guardian Angel isn't the right thing to do, and I think a lot of the frustration with the hero lies around Resurrection and Blue Beam. Specifically, I would say Blue Beam more recently, although they did make changes to that when it comes to Sojourn, although she still is quite effective with the pocket. So I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? So in conclusion, I don't like these changes to Mercy. I like the passive change. I like what they're trying to imply the character is about. I don't like reducing the movement potential of the hero. I don't even really like reducing the survivability of the hero. I think they've really missed the mark not looking at some type of potential change to res, although I would argue that Blue Beam is probably the higher on the Mercy hit list, I would say. I think they've been a bit too heavy-handed here. I think they've given her something she needed, but then taken away something which is really going to handicap the hero. And also, when we talk about flow of the hero and the way that she plays, she's just not as... well, she's not as fluid anymore, and I think that's not very good design overall. If you're taking a character and making it less fluid, arguably less engaging to play, that's not good. So something needs to give here. This is going to be a really interesting one to follow. How will the Blizzard design team react to this? Will they just leave it? Will they make changes to Mercy? What would you do to Mercy? Do let me know in the comments below. As ever, thank you everybody for listening and watching the video. It helps a ton if you like the video, if you comment below and subscribe to the channel. And I will do my best to keep the content coming. I hope you guys are enjoying Season 3. Oh, and do send me your replays. Go to unitloss.com/overanalyzed and you can submit your replay codes away. I am starting to get back into sort of coaching and maybe not so much coaching, but let's say giving tips, spectating and that kind of stuff, which I've been known for years and years over Overwatch, but I might start doing a bit more of that. So do send your replay codes in, and remember, replay codes get deleted after the game updates. All right, I'll catch you on the next one. See you soon.